Hello and welcome back. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. Today I have with me one of my most highly anticipated holiday releases, and that is the Dior Golden Nights collection. And I have to give a shout out to my friend Yadi at Yadi Beauty 81. She also has a YouTube channel. If you haven't checked her out yet, please do so. And she reviews luxury makeup as well. She's getting close to 1,000, and she has a killer giveaway that she's been preparing for it this whole time. So I believe her motto is 1,000 subscribers, so $1,000 giveaway. So if you haven't checked her out, make sure you do that. Hit the subscribe button, and she already has her Dior Holiday video up. Oh, if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be doing this today because I did not have a contact or any way of getting any of these items before they were widely released here in the US. And Yadi was able to hook me up so that I was able to purchase through her contact. So thank you again, Yadi, and I hope everybody heads over to your channel after you watch this review. Now, since this was one of the holiday releases I was the most excited for, I ended up purchasing quite a bit of it. So I purchased pretty much all of the makeup items that were available at the time. And there is a cushion powder that I'm interested in that was released on Selfridges this morning, and I haven't been able to get that, but I am interested in that. And I meant to get some nail polish, but I forgot about those. So I might pick those up at some point. But what I do have are both of the eyeshadow quints, the blush, the highlighter, and the 4 Diorific lipsticks. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything. So first we have the blush, and you can see on the box that it's called the Rouge Blush. It's the Golden Nights collection. This is number 353, and this is called Rose Frisson. And it comes in it's a really deep navy blue velour pouch. It's a substantial one. It's not super flimsy. It's actually a little thicker than I expected, and it's actually lined on both sides. And this here is the palette. So I've got a mirror. It does come with a blush brush and a piece of plastic. And here it is. So it's got this beautiful snowflake imprint. And I think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. So just a note, but this is the blush brush that it comes with in the compact. So you have the CD at the bottom. You can see it's an angled brush. It's not going to be super thick, but it's not incredibly flimsy either. And there you go. Also in a Rouge Blush box, we have number 310. And this is really going to be more of a highlight. So just so you can see the packaging here, it does have, a little place to press in for this. And we have the same type of brush. And here you go. This is the highlight. And this is the shade, this is number 310. And it is the shade Golden Frisson. Now, both the blush and the highlight are made in France. They're 5 grams or 0.17 ounces. And if you look, you can see that there is some gold sparkle in each of these. They have an approximate shelf life of 12 months. Now, let's take a look at the quints. This one is number 549, Golden Snow. And it does have the same packaging as the new quints with a metal bar going all the way across that you can depress in order to open this. And we have the utensils, we've got a double-sided brush. So one side angled, one side more rounded. And then the other applicator is a foam tip applicator. This is the actual palette. And again, you've got this beautiful snowflake imprint going throughout this. So this has an approximate shelf life of 6 months. It's 4 grams or 0.14 ounces, and it's made in France. Just to show you the size difference here, you can see that the actual palette for the eyeshadow is slightly larger. And again, the blush and highlight, this is more like what the old Dior shadow formulas came in versus this one with the new quints, where the new formula has this metal bar all the way across. Here is the second quint. This is number 089, Black Night, and it's made in Italy, 4 grams or 0.14 ounces. And again, a 6-month approximate shelf life. And just so you know, these 2 Dior quints do not come with a velour case, just like none of the new formula eyeshadows do. So just a heads up, if you didn't get one and you were expecting to, they don't come with one. I also picked up the 4 Diorific shades, and these are limited edition shades here. And this is the type of box that it comes in. This is the container itself. So I actually don't have any Diorific lipsticks, so these will be my first. This first one here is 072 Shimmery Red. And just take a second to look at that. So we've got this snowflake imprint going all around the bullet. And you can see, hopefully, that the snowflakes, you know, they actually have this red glitter on the snowflake. So there is like pink micro glitter embedded throughout the lipstick, which will make it shimmer and shine. But if you look at the actual bullet here where these snowflakes are, those snowflakes themselves are actually made out of red glitter. The lipsticks are 3.5 grams or 0.12 ounces, and they are made in France. So just a note there. This one here is 073 Dark Sparkle, and this looks awesome. So it's purple. The snowflakes have more of a red glint to them. And then the actual purple shade of the lipstick bullet, the way it hits the light, you have this like blue reflect. So I'm really curious to see how this is gonna look on the lips. This one here is 071 Glittery Rose. So it looks like it's gonna be a mid-tone medium rose. Very pretty. Again, the glitter on the snowflakes for this is gonna be red also. And then we have 070 Dazzling Beige. And this time the snowflakes are going to be gold. So you've got gold glitter embedded in there. On my face right now, I have the Clé de Peau concealer and the Radiant Matte Fluid foundation with a light dusting of the Sisley Photo Pudra Compact on top of that in the shade Rosy. And I have the Hourglass Veil Eye Primer on. Other than that, I did my brows with the Gucci pencil and the Surratt Brow Pomade. Nothing else is on. We're gonna go ahead and try these out. Now, before we try them out, let's go ahead and swatch everything. So let's start with this one here. This is the Highlight number 310 Golden Frisson. So here is this. So it actually looks a bit of a beige shade, more of like a beige champagne, and then there's a little hint of golden sparkle. So I can see why they call it a blush versus a highlighter on the box, because a lot of highlights, they have more of that metallic finish, whereas this is more of a powder formula with a little bit of highlight or sparkle in it. It's not as strong of a highlight as what we've been seeing more recently. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, but I think it's gonna give a very subtle golden touch. This here is the blush in Rose Frisson, and this is number 353. So with this one, you have a more of a neutral rose, maybe slightly warm, but it's pretty neutral. And there's a little bit of gold sparkle in here. I don't have any Dior blushes to compare from the regular line. I do have Backstage, which is a little bit different in formula, so I won't be comparing those. And this is the quint that called to me from the very first time I saw a photo. So again, this is 089 Black Night, and let's go ahead and swatch this. I'm going to start with these 3 on what's the top of the palette, and then we'll move to these darker ones. So here are the top 3 shades in Dark Night, and look at them. They all have a little bit of shimmer and sparkle in them. Obviously, the silver shade is going to be more of a metallic shade. You can see how strong that is. And these are going to be more of, you know, they're not even really a satin. They're really more of a matte with a little bit of sparkle in them. Okay, these are the bottom 2. Oh, I meant to show you my fingers. Anyway, we have a deep navy blue and a black. And again, these are going to be more matte shades with just a hint of sparkle in them. So essentially what we have a gunmetal gray, a silver metallic. This is more of a burgundy with a brown base. And then we have navy blue, and you can see that there is going to be a bit of a black base there. and then we have a black shade. This here is $5.49 Golden Snow. And again, we're going to swatch these 3 at the top and then the 2 at the bottom. These are the 3 at the top. And these are the 2 at the bottom. So you can see the 3 at the top are definitely going to be more shimmery. They're a little bit more sheer. We have more of a peachy kind of gold amber kind of shade. It's really more of a peach, like something you could see as an intense peach highlight. And then we have a bright silver. You can see the difference between the 2. This one has more of a white base versus a gray base for dark night. And then we have a pale gold here, and you can see how light that gets. You can really sheer the 3 of these out. Then these 2 here on the bottom, this one is going to be more of a satin shimmer shade, and it's kind of an olive green, kind of mustardy olive green shade. So that's very pretty. I really like that. And then this last shade here is going to be a brown shade, and it's a pretty medium brown. It's a little warm, a little cool. It's pretty neutral, but it's about a medium depth of color. And this is going to be one of the mattes like these with just a little sparkle in them. We're going to go ahead and swatch lip products later. Let's go ahead and try these things on my face. Let's start off with the Golden Snow palette, and I've got the Rephr 16 brush here, and I'm going to go in with a mix of the kind of camo green kind of shade, which looks a little bit more mustard here, and the gold in the middle. So I've got just a little bit on the brush here, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the crease. We're going to keep things kind of simple here. We're going into the darker brown. This is the soft shader from Sonia G. I'm just going to dab a little bit of this in the outer corner. After wiping that brush off, I'm going into the shade next to it. I'm going to put this over the majority of the lid. Just going to kind of leave a little space by the inner corner. So I'm tapping over the dark brown a little bit just to kind of blend the 2 together, but I'm not trying to cover it. Wiping off the brush, I'm going into the peachy shade. I'm gonna dab this here in the inner corner and just kind of tap over a little bit. I'm actually gonna go over that just a touch with the gold shade from the middle. And I'm just gonna dab the gold right over where the peach and more mustardy shade kind of hit. So there's a little bit more of a gradient there. Back in with the Rephr 16 and just kind of buffing a little. For the lower lash line, I'm going into this more mustardy shade. This is the Sonia G Smudger 2. Taking the same brush in the dark brown for the upper lash line. And I'm just going to kind of put this close to the lashes, but give it more of that smudged out look. I'm taking the Sonia G Pencil Pro in the white silvery shade. I'm gonna knock this right here in the inner corner and just drag it down a little bit. I'm gonna take a touch of this and just put it under the brow arch as well. So this is my final look with Golden Snow. I really like it. So this is the final look with Golden Snow from a distance. Let's go ahead, we're gonna add the blush and the highlight, and then we're gonna try the 2 lighter shade lipsticks with this eye look, and then I think I'll wash my face. We'll go ahead and try out the darker palette with the darker 2 lipsticks. I have the Sonia G Classic Cheek, and we're starting off with Rose Frisson, which is $3.53. And I have to say, the powder comes up very easily. So you can see, I'm gonna dab this on my cloth, knock some of that off, and let's go ahead. So there's the blush. I really like that shade. It's goes on super easily. You don't really have to blend much. And you've got just a hint of the gold in there, but it doesn't give your cheek like a metallic glisten. It's still, it's like a satin matte kind of finish. And I like having a little bit of the gold sparkle in there, but not tons. Let's do the other side. So here are the cheeks. Let's go ahead and try on the highlight. For the highlight, I am going to go in with the mini cheek from Sonia G. And again, this is number 310, which is called Gold Frissons or Golden Frisson. So just got a little bit on here. And yeah, it's subtle, but you definitely get a little bit of a gold hint, but you've got a beige base to it. So it's gonna stay pretty subtle. And I like it. It's not super subtle, I have to say. Like, I do have more subtle highlights, but on the ranking of highlights, it's one of the more subtle ones that I own. Look at that. If you're looking for a little bit of a soft gold highlight that is on the more subtle side for the holidays, this is definitely a great choice. So here you can see the blush and the highlight from a little bit further away, and you can see the way the light hits. It looks beautiful. I'm really happy with those colors. All right, let's test out the two lighter lipsticks. So this one is number 070, Dazzling Beige. I'm gonna swatch the lipsticks on my hand. This is one swatch of the lipstick. And when you build it up, here you go. So you can see you've got a little bit of gold in there, but not much. When you build it up, you really don't see much of the glitter at all. Next up, we have 071, which is called Glittery Rose. And this is one swatch. And then when we build it up here, again, you actually see a little bit more of the sparkle with the sheer layer. And then it becomes more of a traditional satin finish. There's still a little sparkle, but it doesn't seem to be, you're not really gonna see sparkle particles. It's really more of a shimmer when the light hits it. So this is Glittery Rose, and it definitely it's a rose with a more of a brick red base to it. So I'd say it's pretty neutral, but a little bit on the warmer side. Let's start off with Dazzling Beige, number 70. So very thin layer. And here is Dazzling Beige. So if you take a look at the lips, you can really tell that there's not that much glitter in these. Here's number 71, Glittery Rose. And this is a thin layer. Let's build it up. And this is 71, Glittery Rose. All right, so I washed my eye makeup off and I tried to leave everything else on as much as I could. We're gonna go in with the Rephr 16 and we are going into Black Night. And I'm gonna go into this gunmetal gray shade right here at the top. So I'm just using a tiny bit and we're gonna put this in the crease. So you can see the little sparkles that this has. I'm not worried about where any of this color goes. I'm going to deepen the crease with a smaller crease brush. This is just to get a little hint of the shade kind of all over the brow area. I'm taking the Sonia G Mini Booster. I'm gonna go into this navy blue shade, and I'm just gonna use a tiny bit, and I'm going to use this to deepen the crease a little bit. So I'm gonna keep it right in the socket. So whatever's left, just kind of smearing a little bit on this outer corner. And I'm going back in with the Refer 16 and just kind of blending these just a touch. Now, while I'm at it, I'm going to kind of smoke out the lower lash line a bit. I'm going in with the Smudger 2 into this navy shade. And I'm just gonna kind of apply this here and just bring it straight up a little bit, or diagonally straight up. So I went about 2/3 of the way in. I'm taking the Pencil Pro and I'm just gonna kind of smudge that a little bit so it's not so dark. So it's gonna go a little bit lower and a little smudgier looking. I'm gonna take the Builder Pro right here in this middle burgundy shade. So I'm gonna apply this to the center of the lid. Wow. Okay, so this one actually goes on a little differently. It's definitely a satin metallic shade. I mean, can you see that, the way that light hits? And the formula itself, the way it feels from the brush to the skin, feels more like a creamy shadow. So, you know that texture that you have when you apply like a cream shadow, how you've got like a little bit more resistance and it spreads out smoothly? That's what it feels like. Oh my goodness, this shade would be gorgeous all on its own. Add a little bit of the deep blue underneath as a base and then just put this all over and you could totally be done. We're gonna do something like that. We're gonna take this Builder Pro and I'm going to go into the black. I'm gonna add a little bit here to the outer corner, make that a little deeper. Okay, I wiped off the brush well. I'm going into the burgundy and I am gonna go over this whole mobile lid. So I'm going over the black shadow. So I just have some depth there, but I still have that metallic sheen to it. Okay, so going in with the Refer 16 here and just kind of buffing a little bit. I'm going back with the Pencil Pro and I'm gonna go into this metallic silver and I'm gonna dab this in the inner corner. And I'm gonna drag this on the lower lash line a little bit, about halfway. So wiping off the Pencil Pro, I'm just gonna smudge everything together underneath. I'm gonna take just a touch of that metallic and very lightly put it here. You have to be light if you want a light touch of this because this one is, you know, it's very creamy and it's very pigmented. It goes on super easily. So I just wanted to get a clean crease brush. So this is the Esom G34. And I'm just gonna kind of buff everything up here and get a little bit more of a transition with the silver and the grays. I think this is a really cool kind of vampy look. It would look great with a winged liner as well. So I think I will attempt that. Not good with wings, especially now as my eyes have gotten older, you know, with the creases. It's a lot more difficult to do wings now than when I was younger. So I will do my best to do a black wing and add some mascara. Then we'll try on the two deeper lipsticks with this. All right, and this is the final eye look from a distance. And I also think that it will look really cool using one of the three shimmery shades from the Golden Snow palette kind of as a topper if you wanted to get a little bit more sparkle on there. But this burgundy shade is awesome. So I really like it. And I removed the other lipstick, which was the Glittery Rose. And now let's take a look at the other two. So this one is 72 Shimmery Red. So there it is. It's definitely going to be more of a cooler tone, and you've got a little bit of pink sparkle in there. I have to say, you know, the Glittery Rose is a lot more warmer toned than I thought it was going to be. This is going to be a bit more cool tone, and the rose shade is actually a lot deeper than I expected as well. So it's not quite as deep, but they're pretty close. And then we have 73, which is called Dark Sparkle. And this one looks in the bullet like it'll be the most unique. You've got this purple shade here, and the sparkle in here is actually blue and pink. So this is it built up. And again, with none of these, you don't see like a ton of sparkle in them. It's really more about the way the light hits it and the kind of sheen that you get. But you can see that this is going to be sort of an eggplant aubergine kind of shade, and there's actually a reddish undertone to it. So although you've got the blue sparkle, the actual base of the lipstick, there is going to be more of a pinker, redder undertone to it. So one more time, we have Dazzling Beige. This is Glittery Rose. This one is Shimmery Red. And then we have Dark Sparkle. And if you want to see more shimmer, a light layer, probably if you pat it on, we'll try that out. You'll probably be able to see a little bit more of that. But then when you build it up, you really don't see much of the sparkle. I'm going to start off with Shimmery Red. And let's just see. So if we dab it on, this is about how much sparkle you get. You can see the little particles hitting the light. I feel like I notice it more like this than I do when I have a thicker coat, but let's compare. So here is a thicker coat of the red. Very bad application. Sorry about that. But here we go. And again, I see, a few little flecks, but I don't know. I don't think the glitter is super noticeable. Let me know if you guys think otherwise. This is number 73, Dark Sparkle. So one light layer, and I feel like with this light layer, you can really see that reddish base poking through. So it's more of a red base. It's more of a red base with blue on top. So you can kind of see both shades there. Let's build that up. Again, terrible application, but you can see it definitely gets a lot more vampy like this, and there's still definitely a red base to it, but it's not sheer enough that you're really noticing that as much. The colors kind of blend together more with this thicker application. I'm going to perfect this a little bit, just make it a little bit neater, and then I will see you further away. All right, so this is the Dark Sparkle from a distance. I cleaned it up a little bit. I still have a little bit of a red ring, but I think that's actually my skin a little sore from changing lipsticks so much because I've been trying on a ton of lipsticks this week. So this is the Dark Sparkle, and I like the shade. So that reddish undertone makes it not quite super goth, but you still have that kind of goth vampy look. So if you're looking for something like that, that's a good choice. And I think it pairs really well with the burgundy and this eyeshadow because they both have a lot of those same undertones, especially where the burgundy and the navy blue kind of hit. It reminds me of how the blue and this more aubergine kind of shade in the lipstick kind of interact with each other. And I think it's really pretty. Now, as for the lipsticks, texturally, they are a thin formulation, very much like the Chanel Holiday ones. They both have that thin texture. These are slightly thicker on the lips than the Chanel with one coat. When you build them up, they're both about the same, but just with the one layer, the Chanel feel a little bit thinner. Another thing to note about these lipsticks is they are scented. So you've got a little bit of that perfume scent, but it also has a baby powder kind of scent to it. So it's sort of like perfume and baby powder mixed together, in my opinion. So there's a little bit of a scent to it. It's not overpowering. It's not bothersome to me. So, for me, the scent's not really an issue. All right, so that is everything that I picked up from the Dior Golden Nights holiday collection. This look that I have on right now does not scream holiday to me, but if you want to make it more holiday, change out the lipstick and that would work. I think actually both of these palettes or these quints are gorgeous, and I don't really, the lighter one is more holiday to me than the darker one, but I really think they're great for all year, depending what kind of look you get. And I also think that you could mix and match them a little bit. I don't think they are similar enough in shade to do a lot of mixing and matching, but I do think the lighter, more sparkly shades in the Golden Snow palette would actually pair very well on top of this, what is this, Black Night palette. So I think there's a little mixing and matching that you could do there. And I also think like trading the silvers between the two and so forth. And I think you could definitely add in like a color or two from each quint if you wanted to combine looks. And, Dior did a great job giving you something light and not necessarily a day look. You can definitely do nighttime looks with either quint, but you've got something kind of light and airy versus something heavier and darker here. And you can totally do daytime looks with this quint, I think, as well. So I am very, very happy with these. I can't wait to play with them more. As for the blush and the highlight, I really like them. I like how subtle they are on my skin, and they don't really seem to accentuate too much texture. I, have a little texture on my skin right now, and I don't feel like these products have made it look worse. And I like how the highlight has a beige base instead of being something super metallic and sparkly like we usually see for the holidays. So I think it's very wearable all year. And I think that's true of pretty much everything in this collection. It's not going to be limited to holiday. And I think that's something important to note, especially when we shell out these expensive prices for luxury products. You don't want to just use them for a month or two around the holidays and kind of shove them in the back of the drawer. So I think this collection here is great. And if you are seeing a gray smudge here, I accidentally smudged my arm against my cheek when I was doing my eyeliner. So there is a little bit of swatches mixed onto my cheek color. So I apologize for that. That was not fallout from the shadow. Although back to fallout, I did get maybe like a tiny bit of fallout from both palettes, but nothing significant. And it wasn't something that you would notice really from far away. So it wasn't an issue for me. Now, if we go back to the swatches, you can't really see the highlight too well here, but here's the highlight, here's the blush. I think they are both gorgeous. You may have similar shades in your collection. I did not have a highlight like this though, with this kind of like more beige base with a golden touch. So for me, that's really unique. This more pink shade of blush, it's got a little bit of a peachiness to it, but it's mostly just like a true rose. I'll have to go through. I don't think I have one exactly like this, and I do like the touch of gold shimmer, so I think that's really pretty. This quint here, Dark Night, I actually don't have anything like that. I might be able to duplicate some of these colors with other things I have, but I don't typically have a lot of dark eyeshadow palettes like this. And yeah, I feel like this deep silver might be kind of similar to something from Natasha Denona, or perhaps in one of the Dior quints I haven't used yet. But this burgundy shade, it's interesting. Look how burgundy it is on the eyes with the metallic, the metallic sheen to it. And then look at the swatch. It looks way more brown in the swatch, and you don't really pick up on that metallic quality to it. whereas on the eye, it's very different. So I think that's something important to know, and I think that's what makes this one really special. The matte shades, you know, they are nice, no problems with blending or anything, but let's face it, you can probably get like a navy blue matte or a black matte pretty much anywhere. So I think what's special about this quint is going to be this more gunmetal silver and the burgundy shade. Now, as for the lighter golden snow quint, these three shades here remind me of highlighters, kind of like what you would have like in the Caroline Pearl Dust palette, but they are more sheer, more ethereal looking. They have a more sheer base, they're not so metallic. And then you've got these two shades here. The brown is, you know, a pretty standard brown in my opinion, but I do think this more olivey mustard shade is really unique. And again, I liked the way this looked on the eyes and the finish, and it did stay true to this shade. So looking for comparisons, this here is the By Terry Nude Dance number 4. And I wanted to see how this compared here. They are pretty similar, but the Nude Dance is going to be a little bit cooler in tone. It's a little pinker on the cooler spectrum, and it's deeper. So that's a difference there. And then another one, this is the Chanel number 68 Rose Ecrin. Put that right here. I don't want to go over the highlight, but you can see that that's going to be peachier and a little bit lighter than the Dior. So not really the best match. Unfortunately, those are the two blushes that I have that are the closest in color. Everything else I have is a brighter pink or just, you know, like more coral, more peach. So those are the only two I have that are kind of similar. This is the Guerlain Meteorites Pearl Dust palette. I just wanted to show you what these look like, swatched near Golden Nights. I'm gonna put these down below here. So you can see that they do have similar tones. I mean, you've got a pink instead, and it's really more like the gold and the silver kind of mixed for this shade here. But these are definitely going to be more opaque than the ones in the Golden Snow palette. Now, another shade that this kind of made me think of here, we've got the Jungle palette. So this is one of the new Dior quints, and these two, the more mustardy shade and the brown, I wanted to see how they compare to the ones in the Holiday palette. So you can see that the Jungle palette is definitely going to have a deeper yellow undertone to it, and it's also a brighter shade in general. It's more chartreuse, and you've got a little bit more shimmer with the finish. And the browns are pretty similar, but again, this one's going to be a little bit deeper, and they're both more of that matte finish. But we do have a little bit of a deeper shade of brown here. So to me, it kind of looks like this shade from Golden Snow is kind of a cross between the brown and the chartreuse shade from Jungle. So I mixed the two together, and this is what you get. So I think that's close enough. So honestly, if you already have Jungle, or if you're more interested in the Jungle color story, I think it's pretty similar to Golden Snow. Let me just swatch. These are the other three shades from Jungle. So you can kind of see you've got a peachy shade. It's obviously a lot deeper and more pigmented than this, which is going to be a softer, more glittery shade. And then you have this more, you know, kind of light pale gold kind of shade, which isn't really similar to either of these. And then this deeper shade is more of a teal green, which doesn't show up in those color stories. But just wanted to show you what the differences are. You probably don't need both of those palettes. Unless, of course, you're a fanatic for green shades like I am. So then in that case, they are completely different, of course. This is the Natasha Denona Glam palette, and this shade here, which is called Center Eyelid, this is a shade that I was thinking of with this more silvery shade here. But unfortunately, they are nothing alike. This is definitely way more gunmetal. It's kind of more of a cross between these two. I don't think this is really going to be a match because these both have more of a purple undertone. But this is the Chantecaille Chrome Luxe Duo. This is the deeper shade from Piazza San Marco. And I just wanted to see how that looked over here. So there we go. I've got a little bit of the silver Natasha Denona there, but this one's definitely gonna be more purple. Yeah, they don't really, they kind of blend out similarly, but then you see more of the purple base. But yeah, they're very different. I went through all of my Natasha Denona shadows, and unfortunately in my collection, I don't have a silver that looks like this. I thought for sure I did, but I tried a bunch of them. They're all way more bright. This one's just a lot more subdued. Not subdued in sparkle, but subdued in color. It's definitely got more of a grayish undertone to it than a lot of the other sparkly ones that I have. So unfortunately, I went through everything I have. I don't see anything similar. So I think that's gonna be it for our comparisons today. As for lipsticks, you know, this color story is kind of similar to what Chanel came out with. You know, you've got like a light peachy or beige shade. You've got the Or Cuivre from Chanel, which actually is more of a pink shade. You got the purple, but the tones of these are all incredibly different. For example, the purple in Chanel is really much more of a berry. The only one that is kind of similar is Rouge d'Or. So I thought we would put that one right here. So this is Rouge d'Or from Chanel, and this is the Dior. So you can see when you build it up that this is going to be, the Chanel's going to be a little bit brighter in undertone, kind of like it's got a more clear base or a whiter base to it compared to this one, which is going to be a little bit deeper and have more depth. The Chanel is also going to be a little bit more sheer in general if you use a lighter coat. So you've got gold sparkle in here. I think the sparkle is a little bit more evident in the Chanel lipsticks than it is in the Dior. So it really depends what you are looking for. So if you look at the built-up swatches, you can see here with the Dior, you don't really notice any sparkle. Even as I move and the light hits it, you really get more of a sheen versus a sparkle. And the Chanel here, when I move, you have a little bit more of, there's just a little bit more light catching. So although you're not seeing necessarily glittery sparkles, you are picking up more light and reflective qualities with that. The shades are pretty similar, but I would say that when you kind of fade out the Dior, you have more of a fuchsia undertone, whereas this one is for the Chanel, it's gonna have a little bit more of a brighter red versus fuchsia. So very similar though, in my opinion, they're pretty close. In comparison, the other shades, these are way warmer than the Chanel's, and then the purple is, this is way more purple. So the purple from Chanel is really more of a berry shade, in my opinion, versus a purple, and they give a very different effect. I really like both of them. And that sums up everything for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I will be playing with all of these items more, and I will have more videos out featuring these items so you can get a better idea of how they look and how they pair. And as a matter of fact, I will have some more looks up on Sunday. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful, and happy holidays. So a little early, but I feel like I'm starting to get in the holiday spirit, getting all these holiday goodies already. So thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.